Hello, everyone. Hockey season is officially over, huh, Bob?
It is officially over. You see how much we miss each other. We couldn't even sit close to one another here.
We've been practicing this.
Everybody having a good time? Good day today, huh? Pretty good couple of days with no rain.
Anyone happy the Penguins won the Stanley Cup? Ooh. Couple, that's all right. Crosby. I'm not, I'm kind of happy. I don't mind losing to the champs here. The Blue Jackets lost first round, but you'd rather lose to the best and then take them down next year. What do you think of that? That's fine.
Well, this guy's right. Their toughest two rounds were the first two rounds, right? Blue Jackets and the Capitals. After that, it got easier for them, believe it or not. So, but it was a good playoffs. It was interesting. It was a lot of a lot of talking points out of those playoffs that'll carry into next year. So, well, we're glad to have you here tonight. You already said you're having a good time, so that's perfect. Let's bring out a couple of guys that'll help you to have an even better time here tonight. And right now, let's bring out the Blue Jackets captain, Nick Folino, and rookie defenseman, Zach Werenski. Coming this way.
You fooled us.
Hi, guys. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Zach?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Hi, Zach. Yeah. Hi, grab the mic. There's Mike. Thank you. Hi, Mike. How are you guys? You're good.
We're great.
Good.
Yeah, doing good.
How's the summertime, Nick?
Busy.
Nothing going on with you, right?
Barely anything going on. No diapers, nothing.
Yeah.
No, we just had our third child 4 weeks ago today, or yesterday. So busy times, but awesome.
And Zach, what have you been up to?
Nothing. Just a lot of golf. My face finally healed, so I got clear to start skating again. So
I was going to say, the last time I saw you in and around this area, you didn't look nearly as good as you do right now.
yeah, they did a good job with it. So it's definitely a lot better.
Now, did you have surgery?
I think it's an improvement on the looks.
Oh, yeah, listen.
I'd say so.
Did you have surgery there, Zach, or did they just let it heal up?
Just let it heal up.
So you just had to kind of take it easy, no training, no skating?
Yeah, I took 6 weeks off. I came back here, got reevaluated, and they said I was good to go. So I started skating again.
Well, good. You just started skating, what, last week, you said?
Yeah, last week, first week.
So Zach came down from Michigan just for this event. So you guys should feel pretty special here as Zach made the trek down to see you guys today.
No way.
And these guys are both getting ready to make another trek very soon to a really boring place on the planet, right? Las Vegas, Nevada, because they are both up for awards, NHL awards, and we want to talk about that. And let's start with Zach, first of all, who's up for the Calder Trophy Award, which goes to the NHL Rookie of the Year. So he's one of the three finalists for that, and just to recap for you, Zach in the last year has finished up an NCAA season, won the Calder Cup in the American Hockey League, made his NHL debut, played in his first NHL playoff game, all of those things. He was the Rookie of the Month in November of this past season. He set Blue Jackets rookie team records in points, assists, plus minus, shots, and ice time, and then he took that puck in the face on that shot by Phil Kessel, which kind of ended it a little bit prematurely. But Zach, just to be
Keep
in
bringing that up.
That's all I hear about.
That's all you hear about for at the start of next year too, probably. But to be in this group of three, what does it mean to you? Just for what I said, what you've gone through in the past year and a half, to be sitting here on the way to Vegas to be in that final three. What's it mean to you?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's pretty special. Coming into the year, I didn't really have any expectations. I just wanted to make the team and try and help the team win. But I don't think I'd be in the position I am right now without the team success we had. Every night when you go out there and your team's doing well and your team's winning, it brings individual success. So I think that's the main reason why I'm going to Vegas.
I got to bring up that puck to the face one more time, Zach. Sorry, Nick. Because you came back, and I've had that injury, and I didn't have to come back on the ice, but you came back in that game and put a bubble on, and I think you had 2 or 3 shots on net. And what happened after that when you went back in the back dressing room?
Well, when I first came out, I wanted to take the bubble off because that little piece at the bottom you can't really see. So I tried taking it off, and they told me no way. And then I went back in the locker room, and in the span of about a minute, my eye just swelled shut. So I had to pull myself. Obviously, I wanted to go out there, but I didn't want to hurt the team or myself. So it was pretty tough. It's always tough when you can't play.
Yeah, you and Matty Calvert, those two things, I don't know if you guys saw that. Matty Calvert was about right here when he got that puck to the eye. Then he came back and scored the goal. That was incredible. So two things. You'll be known for that until you do something else, I guess.
I will add a comment, though, because I sat staring at Zach in the locker room, and I'm watching him, and his eyes slowly starting to shut, and I'm like, oh my God, he's just sitting there, he's like trying to keep it open, and then all of a sudden there was no fight, and it just shut on him, and I could see it in his face. I felt so bad for him because honestly, he was one of our best players that night with one eye, so it was hard to see him battle like that, but we were all so proud of him and the way he played, and we definitely missed him.
As an older player and the captain of this team, you see a guy like this come in at 19 years of age, and even just a minute ago, he's sitting here saying, I just want to make the team, do this and that. Like it was, I mean, he came in and took this team by storm, and he changed a lot of things that you guys do as a group. How impressed were you with him just throughout the whole season, right from the beginning?
He actually reminded me of my 19-year-old year. Way off. No, you know what? I have to admit, it was I didn't know much about him, to be honest with you. Sorry. I knew he was a great player. I'd heard from the management, from some players that had played with him. But, it's very special to have a player come in at that age and make an impact, and a huge impact. And a guy that, the way he handles himself, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks as you guys listen. I mean, he's already got so many professional tools to him. That's, I think, what allowed him to be such a great player. So it was so encouraging for us to see that, because here's a guy that you can rally around. You know that the future is bright when you have a player like him, a player like Seth, the youth on our team, especially in our back end. I think it gives you confidence as a forward. It gives you confidence as a leader, knowing that you don't have to work too hard with a guy like that. You just got to kind of help him along. And he's been an unbelievable professional for 1 year, and I'm really excited about what the future is going to hold for him, because I mean the sky's the limit as long as I do my job and helping him along, and some other guys, and I'm sure we're going to learn things from him along the way too. So it's great for this organization, because you've seen what he's able to do in 1 year, and we're excited for many more.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and this award show, you guys are both up for awards. We're going to talk more about that. But Zach, I'm wondering, when you go home, now you've got a year under your belt. You go home, you're feeling pretty good, right? NHL. How is it going home now for you? Is it all the same at your house? Are you picking up the bill? Or is things different for you now?
Not really. I think the only thing is your friends kind of look at you a little bit different now that you've played a year in the NHL. Not different in a bad way, just they kind of know you're in the NHL, and they always bring it up how cool it is. They'll be watching a playoff game, and they just kind of look at you like, wow, you were just playing in that. So things like that are a little bit different. But around the house, I never really talk about it, never talk about hockey, try and forget about it. Our minds are programmed hockey for 9 months out of the year, so the 3 months in the off season you get, it's nice to try and forget about it.
They're slow to take the bill, though, right? Like you're the one. They kind of slide it over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Call it raptor arms. With their arms.
Did you guys watch playoffs at all? You guys watch the Penguins or anything that happened?
I didn't watch the second round. I started in the third a little bit, and then I watched the finals just because I was curious, obviously, to see how it was going to go down. But it didn't sit well for me for a while, so I didn't really pick it up till the third round. And that's great. As a fan, ultimately, we're all fans of hockey. I think that's why we're all here. As much as we play, we're fans of the game. It is the best sport in the world when it comes playoff time, even during the regular season. But it's a whole different ballgame. I'm here and following the Cavs and everything that goes on there, and I just the quality of our sport. I just was so impressed, and I can't wait to be a part of that and doing that on a nightly basis in the playoffs at the finals, and just because it's an unbelievable thing to watch and witness, and hockey at its greatest form is probably one of the best things to watch. So it was pretty impressive.
Even the celebration. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter. They had the Penguins celebration against the Golden State celebration in the locker room. It was awesome. Check that out.
Yeah, that's true.
Zach, you were talking about your friends. Ironically, when you get to Vegas, one of those final three guys is one of your friends, and Austin Matthews, who was the number one overall pick last summer. He's up for the same award that you are. Has there been any back and forth between you guys on this thing, or are you just saving that for next week?
I think we're just saving that for next week. I don't really have too much pressure on me with the year he had. I think it's pretty much a lock for him, but I'm happy for him. He's a good kid. We're good friends, like you said. He kind of has the upper hand on me right now, so I'm just going to go to Vegas and enjoy it.
I don't know about that. As a defenseman, your numbers are really impressive all the way around. 2 different positions. I wouldn't count yourself out yet. You better get that speech ready, Zach.
If I win, I'll just wing it.
Wing it. Good call.
Jody, tell us a little bit about the award that Nick's up for.
Yeah, well, Nick, as the leader of the Columbus Blue Jackets, is up for just a fantastic award. Mark Messier, one of the best leaders in any sport, let alone our sport. They developed this award a few years ago, and he's up for the Mark Messier Leadership Award. It's for the individual who leads by positive example through on-ice performance, motivation of team members, and dedication to community activities and charitable causes. He's checked the box on all, obviously. We know that here in Columbus, but it's been noticed nationally, and he's up for this award. And that'll be awarded Tuesday night in Vegas. Right, Nick?
I don't make the big screen. That'll be an earlier ceremony, hopefully. And
it's such a big award. They're doing it all on its own day by itself.
I'm more excited. I just want to meet Mark Messier, so I'm looking forward to that.
You've never met him.
I'll just take him home with me.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Hopefully, if I win.
So, Nick, you get the captaincy. You're unsure, and it's new territory for you. You get frustrated last season with this team. And then this year, the way the season went, I know you approached last offseason differently, but what was something that you're most proud of actually that happened this season with this team, and what do you reflect on last summer that maybe helped you get here?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things. I think just seeing us reach our potential. I mean, I think there's so much more to unlock, but that was what I was so disappointed about personally the year before, was myself and the team did not reach our potential at all. And that's the most disappointing thing when you train all summer, you prepare, and you go into the season and it doesn't go your way. And I was so disappointed in myself and what went on here and for you guys, because, I mean, you ultimately are the ones that are there to cheer us on and are a big part of it. And we felt it from you guys, how disappointed you were, and let alone how disappointed we were. So that was something I really appreciated, was seeing the relationship then change from this season and the passion, the 16-game winning streak, the team every night playing the way it's capable of, no off nights. Even if we lost, it was by a goal or, you didn't see too many disappointing games. And I think that's all you ask for as fans. That's all we ask for as players. You know you're not going to win every night, but if you're putting your best foot forward, majority of the time you're gonna do well, especially with the team that we have now. So for me, that was the biggest thing, and I learned a lot about myself. I mean, from this season, I learned the reason why I was given this, this honor of being the captain was, when I'm playing the right way of my style of game, then I'm driving this team. And I realized when I didn't do it, what happened to the team, and I realized when I did do it, what happened to the team. So it's not just me, but I'm a big part of it, and so is Zach. And there's all ways that different guys try to lead, and I think that's what's exciting about this team, is that we have so many guys now that are pulling this thing along in the right direction, and we're really excited about seeing where this is going to go.
So these accomplishments, again, for the Blue Jackets, 108 points, franchise record. Nick, 51 points, 5 game-winning goals. But here are the other things. Here are the off-ice things, and these are really impressive. And I don't want him to get off this stage without either reminding you or telling you for the very first time what he's done off the ice. In October of last year, he and his wife Janelle committed $1 million to be split between Nationwide Children's Hospital and Boston's Children's Hospital in support of pediatric genital heart care in honor of their daughter Milana, who was taken care of at both hospitals right after she was born. He teamed up with Papa John's Pizza for a second year in a row on a promotion in which Papa John's donates a portion of the proceeds from the sales of the Defender Pizza.
Great pizza.
And it makes $500 donation for every goal that Nick scores to the Janice Folino Foundation. And to date has raised $32,965. So it's good that you got your goal totals up this year. Just last week, he announced $70,000 in donations to help those doing cancer research and those fighting cancer through the Janice Folino Foundation. And he's had numerous other appearances throughout the years. How about a round of applause for this off-ice stuff? And, I was fortunate enough when we went to Boston this year, and you went and you visited the Boston Children's Hospital. I was able to go in there, and listen, you should see, you love how he plays on the ice. You should see him off the ice. I mean, with the doctors that worked with him and his family and his daughter, and just the kids that were in there who are, you know, they've got cancer, they've got some disease, and they're just looking for a smile, and this guy delivered. And what does that mean to you to be in this position, to do all this stuff you do for a living, but to be able to give it back just like you did in all these instances I talked about?
I'm going to take you on my next contract negotiation. You know what? I think everyone knows. I mean, I don't think it was because of what happened. Well, a lot of it was what happened to my daughter, but I don't think that was the main reason. I think we always felt, I always say this when we first came to Columbus, we always felt a connection. When I first got traded here, you don't know what it feels like to get traded, and you're nervous. And I just couldn't believe how kind the people were here, and it just felt like home, and it felt like somewhere where we wanted to start a family, and sure enough we did. And then you kind of get this curveball thrown at you when life's just starting to get going. You're excited to be a first-time dad, and your daughter's, you know, told that she may not make it, or and then you feel like you have this sense of you know, you want to give back because you realize what's been given to you and the opportunities that you've been given because of this great game that we play. And you know, if I never was in Columbus, who knows how this story would have ended. So we have this unbelievable facility in our backyard. Had to go to Boston for the procedure that they did, but had I not, you know, had the resources at my fingertips, maybe I would have never found that out. So there's just so many things I'm so grateful for, and I realize in going through it, I always tell the story. I was sitting in the cafeteria in Boston, and my daughter had just finished her surgery, and we were trying to get something to eat. So I was by myself. My wife stayed up with her, and I saw a lot of these families with kids, and some were never going to leave. You know, some were never going to have a life that my daughter was lucky enough to have. And I remember going up to Janelle, I said, no matter what happens after this, we got to do something to make sure we help everybody involved. And that's not to pat, it's just because of how I understood how this world works, and how fortunate we are to do what we do, and the opportunities we've been given. There's so many people that aren't. And I just wanted to make sure that that was something that we left behind here because of the, ultimately, you know, nationwide, and Boston gave me a chance to have a family. So I'm forever indebted to them for that, and Columbus. And so it's been a pretty special thing. I wouldn't have imagined how this has all grown, and but I'm just so humbled and honored to be in a position like this, and have the people that have supported not only us but my mom's foundation here in Columbus, who don't really know her, never met her, but had heard and wanted to support there. So we're so grateful to the people that have allowed us to do this. It's you know, it was a pipe dream to begin with, and just the wheels started turning in motion, and here we are today, and we're so proud of what we've been able to do, and there's so much more to do. So I appreciate that, but it's a big thanks to everyone else who's done it for us as well. So.
We're proud of you, and we're happy to have you here, Nick. You're a real inspiration to this city and this organization. So, aren't we lucky to have this guy?
Thanks.
And good luck in Vegas.
Thank you. Yes.
You too, Zach. I want to ask you, Zach. You play in front of one of the best goaltenders in the world, in Sergei Bobrovsky. He's up for the Vezina, for the goaltender in the National Hockey League, and the Hart, the most valuable to his team. How much did that help you at this level, having a guy like Sergei behind you?
Yeah, I think it's definitely huge for a young guy coming into this league, knowing who you have back there saving the puck. You know, there's plenty of times this year where I look back and he's smiling after he bailed me out, just doing his goofy laugh, and then I go into the locker room in between periods and he's still smiling, kind of making a joke on, you know, on what happened on the play. But fortunately for me, I sit next to him in the locker room, so I kind of got to know him on a personal level. I know how hard he works. He's where he's at for a reason. You know, and for me, being a young guy, like I said, you can learn from him off the ice, and on the ice, it gives you a level of confidence knowing who you have back there.
Yeah, he's pretty quiet, but he's kind of sneaky in his sense of humor, and he likes to get his digs in, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's surprising about Sergei Bobrovsky. And you said, I mean, everybody works hard in the National Hockey League, but that man at his craft is really something to watch. You guys are lucky to see that.
Unbelievable.
Well, you've really literally formed a special bond with him after every win. And
yeah.
Raise your hand if you have sat in your seat after a win to wait to see Nick hug Sergei Bobrovsky. See? And I remember, you and I have talked about that before, where you didn't realize that was going on so much. That was just something you did. You didn't know that it had kind of taken off like it did.
Yeah, it was like my first year here. Yeah, first year here. It was just we were making a march to the playoffs. I mean, that was the year we missed by a point. heartbreaker. We were watching Minnesota, and they had to beat them. They lost or something like that. But I remember every game was just monumentous, and then we were gaining so much ground, and we were winning, and so every game, it was just the hugs got bigger and bigger, and I didn't realize until after they had had it on the news or whatever. So it was pretty funny. And Bob and I remember the next year we didn't do it, and people were giving us heck, and I was like, sorry, okay, we'll do it again. Bob's like, I guess we got to do it. I'm like, sorry, man, we're going to be hugging for a while here. So it's pretty funny how it all turned out. But I do look forward to the hug after every game, and so does he. So it's pretty special.
As great as he was during the regular season and this year, and as Jody said, he's up for 2 awards that he very richly deserves. I'm sure that, that playoffs wasn't exactly what he had hoped for, too. And, that was one of the rare times I would guess that you guys as a team had to pick him up a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean that's sports. You never win and lose with one guy. I think we could have played better in front of him. That's the way it goes. But one thing about Bob is he's a professional, and he's going to come back better than ever. I mean, he proved it this year, and I have no doubts that he's going to come back and be an outstanding goalie, and like he always is. So. That's part of sports, like I said, but we have full confidence in both our goalies to get the job done, and we're really lucky to have a guy like Sergei Bobrovsky back there.
And one thing, if you watch during the playoffs, this is legit. The Pittsburgh Penguins made Sergei Bobrovsky look like he didn't look throughout the course of the year. Then they went into Washington and found a way to do that to Braden Holtby, who is second in the Vezina balloting more than likely. Then Craig Anderson, you know him. He's a good friend of yours, and he had a great season. They got by him. And then Pekka Rinne, who was terrific, got pulled 2 times in the Stanley Cup final. So I don't know what they did, but they found a way to get to some of the most premier goaltenders in the league.
We're going to test them. We got steroid tests to do after the season. No, they're a great team. You can't argue that. And they're a good lesson for us. I mean, that's what we aspire to be, better than them. So. It's a good lesson to realize what it takes, especially back-to-back. That's impressive. So we got some work to do.
You know what impressed me about the Penguins, and I watched all the playoffs, was they did it to the Blue Jackets too, where you would carry the momentum and the shots and the opportunities, and they would get one, and they would bury it. And I know as a player, it's got to be frustrating to put in all that work and get nothing out of it, and you look up at that big thing, and it's 1-0 Pens, and you're like, they did it throughout the playoffs, and that's I don't know if that's confidence or
I'm
just
sure. Yeah, there's a little bit of both. I think it's the old saying, it's not quantity, it's quality. I think that's something that they lived by the whole playoffs. They had quality chances. They got outplayed a lot of games. They did the old rope-a-dope where you think you got them on the ropes, and all of a sudden they come flying back. So that's definitely confident. That's a team that's played together. They didn't have very many changes, right, from the year previous. So. I look forward to being that team. Maybe not getting outplayed every game, but being that team that just you have full confidence no matter what's going on in the game to know you're going to come out victorious. And they did that to us, and that's, like I said, that's a good learning tool for us to use in future games and going forward.
All right, there's one more guy that's up for an award in this organization. I want to talk about him, and then we'll get on to questions from the fans, and that is your head coach, John Tortorella. He is up for the Jack Adams Award as the top coach in the NHL this year. Zach, here you come out of the American Hockey League, and, I don't know how much you knew about John Tortorella, but his reputation certainly does precede him. And did you have any idea what you were coming into when it came to dealing with him this year?
No, not at all, actually. I was kind of scared a little bit. You hear his reputation in the media, and it's kind of portrayed.
Did you watch your YouTube clips like I did when he came in?
Yeah.
They were scary, right?
There's highlights, Torts highlights.
I know. Before my first interview, I'm thinking, oh my God, I better know exactly what I'm going to say to this guy, right?
And you get a letter in the mail, and it's it's pretty intense, so you're a little bit scared. But came to camp, and I think the media kind of takes what he says and blows it up a little bit. I think for me as a young guy, and all us young guys, me, Nudie. All the young guys, all the young D especially, he lets you play your game. I think that's one of the reasons why we had success, or a lot of young guys had success, was because he understands people, and he understands, people play different styles, and he cares about you. He wants you to go out there and do well. I think that's one thing that the media doesn't really show enough of, is how much he cares about people.
One thing that he always said about you throughout the course of the year, and it stood out to me because the previous year, I heard him do some interviews talking about some of the young guys not really appreciating the history of the game, or maybe not knowing a lot of the history of the game. And he went out of his way to talk about you as being a true pro and having the full background of the game and appreciating the opportunity you were given and all those kind of things. Did you have those conversations with him, or did he just notice it and go out and tell the rest of us?
I think he just noticed it maybe. I grew up in Detroit, which is a huge hockey city, so the history of the game just comes easy to me. I've grown up my whole life watching historic teams and stuff like that, so I think that part of the game just kind of comes natural, and I think that's something he noticed. But I think that's, the ultimate compliment a player can get is when a coach tells you you're acting like a pro.
I had one just real quick because I know
Is
I
this
talk a
the
lot.
story?
Yeah.
The Hartley story?
Yeah. He wasn't going to say it, so I'm going to say it.
I thought about it.
You thought about it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can tell it if you'd like.
better from you.
Because it's kind of, I'm involved a little bit. I was just laughing because you asked about Torts and Z, and I think he got his welcome to Torts moment this year when we have to do this. I don't tell you guys a lot about what goes on in our room, but I will. It's a special thing. It's we do this thing where it's called Quote Day. So you have to write down a quote about whatever you're feeling. It could be anything. Could be any kind of quote you're thinking, and you got to put it on the board, and Torts comes in and reads them after, and when you're not around, and you got to put your name on it if you're proud of it. If some guys leave it anonymous, if it's a dumb quote, I've heard a few. And Z decided, I can't remember the exact quote, but he decided to quote a very, very big foe of John Tortorella. That is Bob Hartley. And if you know the history, that's the guy that Torts went after in Vancouver and tried to fight and in the locker room. And so Z, I walk up to the board and I'm putting mine up and I'm reading to the guys and I see number 8 and it's, what's the quote?
I don't even remember.
Oh, it's like some.
I don't want to remember.
Work hard, you don't know. Anyway, it says Bob Hartley 8, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was about to take it down so he wouldn't get in trouble. And Torts comes cruising through, and he's like, he's reading the quotes. He's like, his face goes white. And I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. He's like, where the hell is Z? And I'm like, I think he's in the weight room.
Nick comes in, he's like, Torts is looking for you. And that's never a good sign when your captain comes in and tells you Torts is looking for you. And I'm looking through the trainer's room, and I just see the top of his head, the forehead up, coming. He's flying in. I'm sitting there stretching before a game, and next thing I know, he's laying into me. But
that's awesome. The whole room was howling. He's like, "You ever put that on the board again with that guy's name? You're done. You're done." I'm like, he's
didn't even know
best
what to say.
defenseman. Don't, please.
So you had no idea, or
I did. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, you weren't thinking.
Oh, okay.
So you weren't poking the bear.
Once they brought it up, I remembered. But
It was awesome.
at the time,
We had a good laugh that day.
I didn't know what I did.
I think we left it up there. It was pretty good. It was awesome.
What about your standpoint? What was your welcome to Torts moment?
2 years ago, the whole year. No. I think he's misunderstood. I think you had a better idea of the kind of guy he was this past year not because things are going well, but I think the team was finally molded into a John Tortorella team. And I think you understand he's passionate about the game, but like he said, he really cares about the players a lot, and he just finds ways to push buttons to make you better. I mean, we're all professionals, so every guy is going to have to be pushed a little differently, and sometimes it's through confrontation, sometimes it's through a back pat. He's very calculated in how he does things. It may seem like he's not, but he is, and it's impressive. I've learned the hard way, and I've learned and I think him and I have an unbelievable relationship now because of it. But he's someone I respect, and I honestly think I'm 10 years in the league now, and he'll probably go down as one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. So that's a big credit to him, and I think I'm lucky to have been able to work with him.
Is it the structure that he brings too, Nick?
Absolutely. I think and I think Z will agree with this. He's a great motivator too. And before games, dog days of the year, and it's February, and I mean he hasn't experienced too many of those, but he just somehow says the right thing to get you going in that game, and then make you realize how important this game is, and just give me, he likes to give me some skin, I need some, like he gets you to just give him 2.5 hours of as hard as you got, and you can go out and get your rest, and he's great about that. We have more days off than anyone in the league, but he's a guy that's structured, and he knows the game. He's been around a long time, and he just gets the most out of all of us, and yeah, I think you saw that this year, and there's still more to get.
I think a couple of years ago, this team had an identity, and you guys might have seen it, where there was no quit. Every team that came in this building when they left, they were like, boy, that Blue Jackets team works hard. And that was back this year and then beyond. So the bar's been raised. You guys know what to expect. The fans expect it, which is great. I mean, you feel that the fans are expecting that level. But when you guys play that way, it is a fun place to be right here at Nationwide Arena.
Fun to play.
If you have a question for either of these guys, you can make your way to the podium
Towards
right
this
now.
podium.
Towards this, yeah.
Does it have a step stool behind it?
So
He's
go
not here, is he?
Go over to, yeah, here he comes.
He's got the first question.
So go to the podium if you have a question. Don't be shy. And seriously, there are no dumb I've already asked all the dumb questions that could be asked tonight, believe me.
That's true.
So go to the thank you, Nick. Go to the podium. I want to remind you, as these guys go out to Vegas, we are going to be having an event next Wednesday night, and it's going to be at the Bluestone. And we'll have the awards show on, and you can watch and see who gets these awards that these guys are up for. And it's going to be at 8 o'clock. Tickets are $10. You can get the tickets by going to bluejackets.com. So that's going to be next Wednesday night. We'll be at the Bluestone while all three of these guys are going to Vegas. Why are you taking him with you to Vegas, by the way?
Just weasel his way
I'm
in.
going to Vegas.
Yeah.
I'll be reporting from Vegas.
You know how many guys went to Vegas to report and never showed up again? Yes, sir. What's your name?
Stevie,
Stevie, what do you got?
your Montreal game, beginning of the season, they're number one in the league. Obviously, tensions are high going into that game. You want to obviously make a big splash. You win 10-0. What's the feeling in the locker room afterwards? I mean, obviously, your first season in the NHL, professional, you got everybody around you. I mean, Nick, you've probably already had that feeling before, but not 10-0. Not 10-0, obviously, but how do you feel? How do you go home with that, like, adrenaline? How's it?
Yeah, well, I just looked at Nick, actually, and said Al Montoya was probably the most frustrating goalie.
Poor guy.
Yeah, after that game, it doesn't really feel real, almost. You just won a game in the National Hockey League, 10-0. Torts came right in and said, we're not even going to watch that tape. We're just going to throw that out.
You're like, come on.
Yeah, I wanted the highlight reel. So it didn't really feel real almost. It was, for us young guys, I remember me and Josh Anderson were roommates last year, and we're walking to the rink, and we're just all jacked up to play the number one team in the NHL. Haven't lost yet, and we go out there, and it's like 4-0 after one. We're like, all right, they're going to make a push here, and then it's like 8-0 after two. And we're like, this can't be real. And then it was, 10-0. Torts kind of summed it up by saying that game wasn't a real game. So it was pretty cool, though.
He may not have counted it as a real game, but I remember we flew to St. Louis after the game that night. And we got there, and on SportsCenter, of all things, that was a big deal. I mean, you beat the Montreal Canadiens 10-0. Now, this was prior to the 16-game winning streak, but it was, looking back on it, it was that first moment where you got a little bit of national notoriety for pulling that off, and you had no idea that there was way much more to come than that.
I think that was like our first, wow, this team's really good, and I think we started to believe in ourselves at that point. I mean, I think we always did, but I think you need that moment to kind of solidify that, where you're like, okay, we got something special here, and I think after that we took off. I mean, it was amazing how we played. So, it was. Hopefully, we can do that again next year.
And it was great to watch you guys react. It wasn't a high. You guys just kept it steady. I think that was a big step in that growth too.
It was great when the fans chanted, "We want 10," and then you gave it to them. That was the best part of the whole game.
Way to rub it in, guys. I loved it.
Go ahead. Give us your name and your question.
Stephanie.
All right, Stephanie, what do you got?
How often do you guys skate during, off summer? Off season?
That's accurate skating.
It depends, I guess. 3-4 times a week, depending. I started kind of early. I thought that was the normal thing to do, and I got to the rink today, and Nick was making fun of me for it. So I'm going to have to take some more time off.
Still have rust on them.
They just had this conversation out there, and Zach said, I thought that was the thing to do, and Nick said, no, too early.
Way too early.
We get a week off next
Guy's
week.
only played one 82-game season. He's got a long ways to go. So, no, it's everyone's different. But I would say I start end of July-ish, and I'll start 3 and 4 and then 5 build up because camp starts September 14th. So excited about that. Oh, very well. Thank you. Actually, we had I really appreciate you asking. She had a minor procedure that inflated the valve that was in her heart as she grows, and so we went to Boston right at the end of the season, and everything went outstanding, and now she's just driving her 2 younger brothers nuts, so typical soon-to-be 4-year-old, so it's been really good. Thank you for asking.
Next up.
My name is Jacob. This question's for Zach, maybe for Nick too. What golf clubs do you use?
TaylorMade.
Same. Were they free, Zach?
No comment.
Mine were.
Easiest question of the night.
Yeah, that was
sir,
awesome.
Go ahead.
My name's James, and my question is, you talked about motivation from the coach. I'd like to know what was the best motivational quote that you remember from Coach T this season?
Do you want to say the one?
Well, I think the most common one is just don't F it up.
Yeah. He had a funny way of making the simplest quotes with some expletives in there that would get us motivated. So I don't know. There's not so many, but he had a real. I will say it was really motivational, and just the way he would present games to you, and I think that's what was so good about him. For a young team, he would break down each game, so you weren't looking ahead, you weren't thinking about the game before. It was, guys, this is going to be the hardest game of the season so far, and here's why. And it was awesome. I think it got everyone engaged, it got everyone motivated, and it allowed us to play our best hockey. And I remember even when we were about to clinch in New Jersey, and just the feeling, because a lot of us hadn't done it, the young guys, and he just came in and had this thing. He's like, we're going to clinch tonight, and it was awesome. Like, I think it just motivated everyone to, and we felt it too. But then you hear him come in there and tell you why, and it just, and earliest I think ever in Columbus history, we've clinched a playoff spot, and so I give him a lot of credit for the way he handled our team.
He doesn't spend a lot of time in there, does he?
No. No,
right before the game, or
yeah, he's really short and sweet, and doesn't even come in after games. It just says his part, and I think he knows that he's prepared us so much in the off season and training camp that he doesn't need to say much. Just little reminders here and there, and now video the next day is a little bit different story, but he's really good before a game.
Last thing I want to talk to you guys about is now next season. Are you at the point, or after you get back from Vegas here, I guess, when you start to really look at that and say, okay, to get ready here, not, they asked about the skating, when you start getting ready mentally for the next year?
I've already done it. Yeah, you know what, it's funny, you watch, I use the playoffs to kind of motivate me. I watch the finals, and I'm like, what's that feeling going to be? I start to visualize what that feeling is going to be like when I'm hugging him because we won a Stanley Cup. It's that part that I think drives you to, get your workouts in, to start thinking about what you need to do to become better. And I think every guy, I would hope, is thinking that way, because there's a lot of work left to do. We had a great season, but I think we talked about we got 10 extra days out of it, really. We didn't go the distance that we need to go and that we expect to go. And I think that's what's changed in this organization, is the expectation isn't just make the playoffs, it's win a championship. And it's going about that process the right way. You can't just jump to it, but we got a lot of pieces in place, like Zach, like Seth, like Alex Wenberg, and the youth that we have that's coming up. That we're going to be a team. I feel that if we all handle this summer the way we need to and have some humbleness and some hunger, we're going to come back and it's crazy to say, but be an even better team. And that's what it's going to take to become a Stanley Cup champion. And so for me, that preparation has already started. I've already thought about it. Every time I talk to guys, it's talking about that and that positive influence, I think, is what's going to drive us all summer long.
Zach, what's a day of your training? What's it like? Get up, you don't skate right away. Do you work out, skate, golf? Is there some kind of regular routine you got going right now?
Yeah, I wake up, skate at 9:30, and then go over to the gym around 11:30, done by 12:30, and then it's kind of different this year. All my friends are getting older, so they have internships. So I like 12.
You're all alone.
At like 12:30, I'm bored till 6 when they all get home. And then they go to the gym and have stuff to do. So I'm just on the couch trying to golf some Twilight maybe when they get home, but pretty bored.
So, yeah, that is kind of a problem, right? Because there's no other – you need a professional hockey player in that town.
Yeah, I know. We got Corey Trop, but I won't be around him too much.
What about coming back here?
You want to
with these
babysit?
guys?
You can come.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
How much do you pay?
But and so 9:30 to 12:30, you're working out.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's, I mean, that's intense. I remember what it was like. It's these guys are getting prepared, and I love to hear. I'm actually get excited when you guys talk about it because the Metropolitan Division and the way it's going to shake out next year won't be much different than this year, where you have to go through some of the top teams in the league right away, and you guys know that now, preparing for that now. This organization, I get the sense, is not one that is planning on making the playoffs. It's one that's talking Stanley Cup. So this organization is in a really good place. And to see these guys already at it, Zach already on the ice and healed up, I'm getting fired up here. I'm ready to go, and it's only June, so I better settle down here a little bit.
Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really do appreciate it. We're glad to have you here, especially in the middle of the summer. I know it's nice. There's so many things that you could be doing outside, but you've come, you've brought your families, and you're excited, and we're excited. And so thank you again for being here tonight. I want to remind you again, next Wednesday at the Bluestone, it's going to be the NHL Award Show event, 8 o'clock start for that. Tickets, $10. Go to BlueJackets.com. All these guys are going to be out in Vegas. Jody will be doing some reports from there for us, and hopefully these two guys are going to be winning some awards. So how about a big round of applause for Nick and Zach for coming out tonight? All right, and that's going to do it. Thank you very much, and have a safe trip home.